Shalom, shalom, mighty shalom. I'm going to start by giving infinite honors and praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Harachak Wadash. Double honors to my teachers, the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well and are worthy of their double honors. Peace and blessings to you, Aki, in pushing out this truth across the four corners during these last seconds of time. Kwame Yashala, mighty shalom. And this lesson is entitled Economic Update. What is economic lurching? Economic update. What is economic lurching? Lord willing, this message be edifying. And this article is from the Newsbreak app entitled Goldman Sachs sends warning in new U.S. economic report. It says Goldman Sachs released a report on Friday, May 8th, with its new outlook for the U.S. consumer, and in it, they send a warning to Americans about the state of the economy. And the scriptures tell us this. This is the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 12, verse 3. In the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble, and the keepers of the house is going into this economy, these top wicked elites, international banking families, they're trembling because their cash cow America is circling the drain in every aspect. And one of those aspects is this economy, all right? The scriptures speak about it crashing from the hills, all right? Going into a stock market crash, which is ultimately inevitable for America. And in every aspect, social, economic, political, educational-wise, so-called religious, all those strongholds that America has used throughout the earth to hold its grips and its power seat is the same aspects that is being torn down by. So it says, and the strong men shall bow themselves and the grinders cease because they are few. The grinders is speaking about the workers. The scriptures say there will be no work in Egypt. All right. And that Egypt is talking about America in Isaiah, the 19th chapter. It says, and those that look out of the windows be darkened. That's right. Harsh, troublesome, dark times ahead for this place. OK, and ultimately, the economy is an aspect of that, because you have a historical record-breaking amount of unemployment. You have record-breaking inflation. You have a historical record-breaking national debt, which the scripture speaks about thick clay, which is going into debt of the society. So you have people that are not able to find jobs. That means less people going to work. You have prices that are extremely high. The scriptures speak about a measure of wheat for a penny. Revelation, the 6th chapter. So you have less jobs. That means less people are able to get the money to buy things in the store that are already sky high. So what is that going to lead to? That's a recipe for a stock market crash, economic fallout, economic lurching, economic teeter-tottering, you name it. So let's get into that definition. It says, what is economic lurching? Economic lurching describes a state of instability where an economy, and when you go into that word economy on the Edamai online, it goes into housekeeping, stewards. And that's what Ecclesiastes 12 and 3 was going into, in the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble. That's talking about this economy being broken down in every aspect. All right. Because like we said earlier, you have a national debt that's at the highest it's ever been. Unemployment rates that's at the highest that it's ever been. Inflation that's at the highest that it's ever been. So there's a statistic out there that says the average American doesn't have $500 in their bank account in the case of an emergency. And this is all true. This is the reality of this place. Real quick. This is the book of Haggai, chapter 1, verse 6, and it reads, ye have sown much and bring in little. That's the reality. You're working just to pay the bills, just to pay off your debts, loans. Scripture said we're subject to fines and payments. This is not our rest. We're prophesying to get out of this place. All right. But an economic fallout, economic teeter-tottering, an economic collapse, a stock market crash, that's inevitable for this place. The signs are there. These, like this article is going into, Goldman Sachs, these top economics are warning the people. They're warning Americans because the stock market crash is going to happen here in America. There's going to be an economic collapse here in America. because the elites have in mind to usher in their NWO system, and that includes a cashless society. So the economy has to fail. There has to be a stock market crash. So it says, ye eat, but ye have not enough. Ye drink, but ye are not filled with drink. Ye clothe you, but there is none warm. And he that earneth wages to put it into a bag with holes. And that's the reality of the average day American. All right. Comfortability has gone out the window. You got your bag. You think that you're storing up, you're saving up. But you go back to looking at bag and there's nothing in it. It's filled with holes. All right. Loans, fines and payments, different notes and such. Before you get your check, it's already spent. It's already gone. And then you're working to get nowhere. That's what this article is going into. That's what this definition, economic lurching, is going into. The instability. It says economic lurching describes a state of instability where an economy moves forward erratically, experiencing uneven growth, unexpected shocks, or sharp, abrupt transitions between expansion and contraction. All right. And there's a saying that goes, you're taking 2 steps forward, 10 steps back. So you're not getting anywhere. And that's the reality of America. Economic lurching. It says unexpected shots, sharp, abrupt transitions between expansion, meaning growth, and contraction. All right. Meaning decreasing. Okay. So that's what America is caught up in. All right. Seeing steady, slow growth in the economy and major contractions, major decreases, major economic blows. It says it often refers to a situation characterized by significant volatility rather than smooth, consistent, and sustainable development. And I think the word volatility goes into like volatile. And volatile means one day something is good and the next day is bad, pretty much. All right. Subject to various changes. And that's this economy. It says here are the key aspects of an economy lurching. It says uneven growth and backward lurches. The economy may alternate between periods of growth and sudden reversals, where many people experience a decline in their economic situation. It is characterized by frequent, sharp reversals rather than steady upward progress. And that's the reality in these average American homes. The American dream is just that. You have to be asleep to believe it. Okay? There's no reality of a White House picket fence. All right? You go to work and then you enjoy the fruits of your labor. No, this place is built for debt slavery. Okay? It's built for corporate slaves. Okay? And the elites have been the only ones that have been benefiting off of America. Okay? You got people that get to 50, 60, 70 years old and then they pass away and they die with hundreds upon hundreds of thousands of debt. That's the reality of it. So here in a place where the scriptures say there will be no work, and on top of that, you have hyperinflation, which the scripture speaks about a measure of wheat for a penny. And on top of that, you have national debt that's skyrocketing, which the scripture speaks about thick clay. What is that a recipe for? Economic fallout, an economic collapse. The scripture speaks about a crashing from the hills. Matter of fact, I'll get that first. This is Zephaniah 1 and 10. It says, and this shall come to pass in that day. And we're getting very, very close to that day, where there's going to be an economic collapse and a stock market crash. All right. Those stock market players, NASDAQ, Dow Jones, they're soon to be extinct on the earth, man. And these economists are warning of these things, warning you Americans of these things. And the prophets are warning you. All these things are scriptural, man. We've been bringing out precepts on these things about the workers ceasing, earning wages to put them to a bag filled with holes. Now we're going into the stock market crash. It says Zephaniah 1 and 10, and it shall come to pass in that day, said the Lord Yahweh, that there shall be the noise of a cry from the fish gate, and an howling from the second, and a great crashing from the hills. And that crashing from the hills is going into a stock market crash. When you look into the aspects of a stock market, all right, it looks like hills, those graphs, all right? And that's what Zephaniah was referring to, man. A stock market crash. And that's going to happen in these times. And the signs are clear. Let's get some more in this article. We'll go back to that precept in Isaiah 19. It says, that warning has to do with high inflation. Let's get that real quick. The scripture speaks about a measure of wheat for a penny. This is Revelation chapter 6. And I start at 6. It says, and I heard a voice in the midst of the four beasts say, a measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny, and see thou hurt not the oil and the wine. And what this is going into is inflation. All right, hyperinflation. Okay. See thou hurt not the oil and the wine. That's going into this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, man. Okay. And that penny is going into denarii, which goes into tenth. Okay. So to put it in perspective, I'll read it in NLT first. But to put it in perspective, all right, if you go in a store one day and a loaf of bread is $5, you're going to go back in the store in that day and a loaf of bread is going to be $50. It's going to be $100. All right. So just imagine that matched up with the average person that's not going to work, that's unemployed, not able to make ends meet to get that in the store. What is that going to lead to? Riots, looting, casualties, people being unalived. And the scripture speaks of all those things, man. The cities are going to be trouble for a lack of bread thereof. Revelation 6:6 in the NLT. And I heard a voice from among the 4 living beings say, a loaf of wheat bread or 3 loaves of barley will cost a day's pay. And don't waste the olive oil and wine. Right. A loaf of wheat bread or 3 loaves of barley will cost a day's pay. So just imagine you make $10 an hour. You work for 8 hours a day, $80 in a day. And you going into a store and a loaf of bread is $80. That means what? You're only able to get that loaf of bread, right? If you just work that entire day and that's all you have. So what is that going to do to the average mindset of the average American that's used to comfortability, that's used to eating 3, 4, 5 times a day, snacking around the clock, living in comfortability, having easy access to everything that they need, man. This is the reality of what's about to come to this place, man. And this is all according to the scriptures, thus said the Bible. So let's go into it some more. It says that warning has to do with high inflation. According to the report, the U.S. PCE inflation is expected to stay near 3% through 2026 compared to the Fed's 2% goal because of higher energy costs. It says notably their economists state that Americans hope to see an interest rate cut will have to wait, as Goldman Sachs has changed its outlook for the U.S. interest rate cuts and moved it back by 1/4 because of higher than expected inflation. That's what you call economic lurching. All right. Goldman Sachs, they changed their outlook for the U.S. interest rate and they moved it back. That's what lurching is. Jolting back. OK, growth and then contractions. All right. Like it says between economic lurching describes a state of instability where an economy moves forward erratically, experiencing uneven growth, unexpected shocks, or sharp, abrupt transitions between expansion and contradicting. Kind of sort of like economic teeter-tottering, back and forth. It says uneven growth and backward lurches. It says the economy may alternate between periods of growth and sudden reversals, where many people experience a decline in their economic situation. It is characterized by frequent, sharp reversals rather than steady upward progress. It says response to shocks. An economy often lurches due to external factors, supply shocks, or sudden drops in demand, negative demand shocks, such as a crash in home or stock prices that reduce household wealth and consumption. You see, and this is all what's going on in the average American's home. All right. And as it says here, let's go down some more. Here it goes. Higher energy and food costs combined with SNAP and Medicaid cuts are pressuring the bottom income quintile. Right. And the scriptures say victuals shall be so good cheap because you average Americans, you are used to getting your benefits. You are used to getting your government assistances. But evils were growing upon the earth. Now they're cutting 50,000 here off the SNAP benefits, 50,000 there. So you're not able to go into the store and get all those benefits off that card and get all your luxuries, and stock up your refrigerator. That's all according to prophecy. 2 Ezra 16:21. Behold, victuals shall be so good, cheap upon the earth. Victuals are goods. It says that they shall think themselves to be in good case, and even then shall evils grow upon the earth, sword, famine, and great confusion. And guess who was prophesying of those evils growing upon the earth? The prophecy Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. So you people would just taking those constellations, all right, and getting those goodies. But guess what? Those goodies are gone now. This economy is dried out. There's no more patching it up with these different stimulus packages and benefits, and like it's going into Medicaid. All of those things are experiencing cuts, man. Okay, and it says, then shall evils grow upon earth, sword, famine, and great confusion. And upon that, also you have a looming epidemic, a looming pestilence that's hitting this place. So when you got a lack of food, a famine, and a pestilence going on, which is all a part of prophecy, man, people are going to get wiped out here, man. All right? And all that was doing was presenting you with all those benefits we're doing were presenting you with peace and safety as if everything was all good. But the scriptures say the day of the Lord shall come as a thief in the night, and so are these prophecies. 1 Thessalonians 5:3, for when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them, as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. That's right, man. Birth pains. And the loss of jobs is a part of those birth pains. Economic fallouts is a part of those birth pains. Thick clay, national debt rising is a part of those birth pains. Mass unemployment is a part of those birth pains. We've been reading scriptures that's attached to it, man. Okay. This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 19, verse 15. It says, neither shall there be any work for Egypt, which the head or tail, branch or rush may do. Right from the top to the bottom of this place, there's going to be no work. That Egypt is talking about America. We just read about the grinders ceasing because they are few. So if you do a math equation, let's add unemployment plus the price of goods sky high plus the national debt of America historical amount plus you got like we've been going into in this article, you got the benefits that have been cut. Medicaid has been cut. Everyone's on edge. It's a recipe for a complete collapse of a society, man. Circle in the drain. That's what this place is doing. All right. Economic lurching, economic teeter-tottering. Okay. So, Lord willing, this economic update was edifying. All right. This message was edifying. I'm going to give infinite honors and praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Harachak Wadash. Double honors to my teachers, the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and blessings until next time. Kwame Yashala, Mighty Shalom.